What's it like out there?
Really enjoyable, really slippery, dangerous.
As spring turns to summer in Australia, the world looks at Cessnock, New South Wales, for the best motorcycle race in the country.
It's the best race of the year. I always have a joke with my wife. She's like, "Oh, you're riding Postie bikes. It must be boring." I'm like, "No, I swear it's that. It's good fun."
That's Craig Anderson, a 12-time Australian off-road champion, racing motocross, supercross, thumping nats, and he's out there regularly racing in the Postie Grand Prix on a 6-horsepower motorcycle.
I think the most exciting thing is one is it's quite a different track. It's up around the back of the RSL. It goes down the street. It goes into the TAFE, out of the TAFE, up and down gutters. So it's a different kind of track. The other is everyone is on the same horsepower bike. So it's about rider, line choice, flow through the turns. It's a real rider's track, you know, and you get a good run through a corner, you can pass some guy and he can't do nothing about it. You're just going flying past him up the straight. And then if you mess the corner up, the same happens to you. So I feel it's a real rider's track.
It's just an iconic street circuit that sort of doesn't happen anywhere else.
The track itself runs around the houses of Cessnock, through the technical college, around a park and back around again. There are curbs to negotiate, there are water drains to run through, there are speed bumps to jump. It's challenging, exciting, and if it rains, very, very dicey. With around 70 teams racing in the Postie Grand Prix, we went out and met a selection of some of those teams. Some are highly competitive races, and some are there just for the fun of racing in such a unique event.
So the last few weeks we've just been practice, doing lap times, just trying to drop seconds by seconds every lap, but game plan would just be fast, consistent laps and, you know, just keep it smooth and stay on the bike. It's the main thing.
Cody is a lot more competitive. Like, I'd be a little bit more worrying on the track. Like, I wouldn't take him out, but yeah, he'd just come straight through. I'm getting #1 spot. Like, no friends on the track. So I reckon Cody would be more competitive out of both of us.
Yes, I'm ready. I'm already losing sleep. Didn't get much sleep last night and probably won't get much tonight. I'm already racing.
And is Paul ready?
I hope so. I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we're always ready.
She's every bit as quick as me, so makes it good.
I think we've established that we're just going to leave the #1 on now. We won't have to change it next year and save a bit of a drama there, so we should be right with #1. That's the only position we're going for.
That's what we're aiming for. We're not coming here to come second, so yeah, looking forward to it.
Ando messaged me saying, "Did you want to do this race?" And I looked it up and thought, I'd give it a crack. I've never done any sort of road racing before. Most of these guys that do this race, they're all really good at it. They're all fast.
Is there anyone out there in particular you'd like to beat?
No, just the guy in front. Yeah. Just keep ticking them off if you can, is the main thing.
For some teams, race prep is really important.
What's it be? Carlton dry.
Carlton dry and no practice.
We've ridden the bike for 5 minutes this year so far, so we're ready to race tomorrow. We've got new tyres.
Yeah, and a new carby. Yeah, we're good to go.
So, Scott, where do you have to finish to be happy?
Upright. Yeah.
And
I had a practice crash last weekend. Look, see my nose? Bruising all down my leg. Yeah.
we want to be #1 in the old farts.
Yeah, we should be able to do that because we're old.
We're looking for the old farts, man.
Yeah, we can do this.
We're going to do the old farts. We'll win the old farts.
Hopefully.
For sure. And if we don't, we'll
Looking
push
around,
them
there's
off.
plenty of young people here.
Anyone that's older than us, we're going to push them off.
And then there's our international competitors, like Team Mexico from down south. And they've got a plan.
Finish the race would be a good start.
Yeah, finish the race. And we were saying this the other night. As long as you know you've ridden well, like you've pushed yourself, you've ridden close to your limit, the bikes ran well, I think that's where the satisfaction comes. And I mean, look, we do have, so the brother-in-law, got to beat him. His bike, his bike has gone 6.2.
And he's raced every year that the event's been held, so he's got a bit more experience than what we do.
I'd be lying if I said that wasn't on the agenda.
They would have a big job ahead of them, being almost dead last at the start of the race. Seraphin, on the other hand, is actually an international racer.
So I am originally from Malaysia, and then when I first heard about Postie Bike GP was on Facebook, I just saw they were looking for some female riders, and I just put my hands up, sent them an email, and then Darren gave me a call about 2 days later to join their team.
Seraphin would be racing against some local sisters in the ladies' race.
Well, I am highly competitive. I did come third last year. There's only a smaller race this year. I think there's only 9 in the race this year, so I'd probably be pretty disappointed to go backwards, I guess, with a smaller race.
How much would you like to beat your sister?
A lot. And if I didn't think she was going to get hurt, I'd just wish that she would just come off so then I could win, because that's the only way I'd ever win. But I would never want her to get hurt.
Australia breeds motorcycle racing champions like Casey Stoner, Troy Bayliss and Chad Reed, and they ride the biggest, fastest and gnarliest machines allowed in MotoGP, Superbike and Supercross, and we often beat the world. So for our only around the houses race down under, we choose Postie bikes, 6 horsepower skinny tyres and a carry rack for the mail. Built to Australia's postal service requirements, Postie bikes were ubiquitous across the country for decades. A reliable little 4-stroke motor, an automatic clutch, 4 gears so they could get up the steepest country hills with a load of mail, and tall wheels for jumping curbs. For many years, Honda didn't sell the Postie bike to the public. It was built and sold just to Australia Post. But the post office would sell them off when they got too old or had too much mileage on them, and the public would pick them up for $500 or so, knowing they were more versatile and capable than scooters, were as reliable as the sun coming up, and were happy to take someone across town or across the paddock.
Not a lot of power, so just
ride it like you stole it.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're a horrible motorcycle to ride, the worst ever. But there's something about that day that you have got the biggest smile on your face from the start of the day to the finish. It is unreal.
Postie GP's on, the road will be shut. Like it's a cool feeling that we're going to be tearing around the streets. They're shutting it all down for us. The council must be sort of really enjoying the event, and it must be a big benefit for the town to keep putting it on. Like without that support of the council, like none of these events would happen.
We generally get between 70 and 80 teams that will join up, so that's the men's teams, and they're teams of two riders and then 2 pit crew. They come from all over the country, and they do that. It's not even about the prize money, because the prize money is not that great, but it's just for the glory. Hey, I've got the Australian Postie Bike Grand Prix title. That's what they love.
It's an hour and a half, like that main event, and you just got to swap over every 10 laps, and you don't see each other. You're just like, yeah, go, it's going good, keep up, we're going well. Like it's awesome.
Dyno Day, the bikes come in, the teams come in, they have to get their bikes put over the dyno. It has to be tested, everything's got to be exactly as it should be. There's plenty of steam gets blown off at Dyno Day when their bikes get knocked back, and they have to refix them and then get them put back over those dynos.
Over the years, officials have caught out many riders trying one little thing or another to make their bike a little faster than the others. But these days, the scrutineering is very tight and all the bikes are very standard, so they are very, very close in performance. In addition to checking the bikes, the riding gear of each competitor is checked to make sure they're going to be as safe as they can be. For teams new to the event, Dyno Day can be a little intimidating when they discover that their bikes aren't complying with all the rules and they get sent away to fix them. And that's exactly what's happening to our team from Mexico.
We had a few electrical gremlins creep in overnight. We've managed to sort it first thing this morning. We're up and running. Yeah. We're excited to be here. We've got an extra bolt that we have to have safety wired. So we've had most of them drilled and wired, but yeah, we've got to do one more. We're back.
We're back.
Yeah, we're all wired up. We've got all the bolts wired up that we needed to, and just cross fingers now and hope that that's all they're happy. We hooked the kill switch up and it wouldn't work. So then we pulled everything out and then we lost spark, so then it was just a focus on getting spark sorted, so we've actually got a running bike, but yeah, they're saying with no kill switch we can't run, so now we've got to go and get the kill switch sorted. So.
Are you able to do that?
Yeah. Alright, so we've just been across the road to Ray Mann's over there and they're awesome guys, they've just helped us out. We've sorted out the kill switch, we're good to go. So just another quick run on the dyno and we think we've ticked all the boxes.
That's unlucky.
Yeah, that's it. Go Team Mexico.
Good news is we've passed.
Yep, we're through. We're done.
Bike went 5.5 horsepower, which is what we've been told is pretty standard for a bike with a few Ks on it.
Yeah.
We're happy, mate. It all works. It all passed. We can race.
They've taken the bike. It's no longer ours. We'll see it again tomorrow in the morning, and yeah, we're good to race.
The bikes are also dyno tested after the race, and many competitors have found that their bikes are actually more powerful at the end of the following day than they were the day before. And that gets you excluded from the results, what we call a did not finish.
But yeah, you got to sort of keep in mind that these posties do get hot and everything loosens up, and they actually go a bit better once they're in a warm engine. So after the race, yeah, you got to have that 0.3 buffer up your sleeve, I guess. So.
Yeah, you don't want to be on the limit, like, and at the end of the day, what's 0.2 gonna? Yeah, it's not gonna do much. Like, so you just 6.1 is probably on the money, I reckon.
Probably, yeah. We'll aim for under 6, I think. Just to, we found out the hard way one year. We sort of went over on the post-race dyno by 0.1 and yeah, DNF. So all this work just sort of gets undone. And
once the bike has passed its dyno test and scrutineered to be legally correct for the race, they are wheeled away by the club so that they can't be tampered with overnight. They're stored at a secure lockup and not returned to the riders until the next morning. And this is all to prevent anyone cheating, anyone pulling the bikes apart and making them go faster with different parts. They're stored at a local business where there are cameras and security to make sure the bikes stay secure and safe but untouched. But that also means that the riders have nothing to do until the following morning.
And on dyno day, you know, like they'll even have a beer with each other and things like that, but come the next day, that helmet goes on, that's the friendship, it's gone. So we're once they're in and around the tracks and everything, there is argy-bargy, they'll get away with as much as what they can get away with. Well, without, you know, trying to knock the other team off their bikes, obviously, but they will go full on into it as if they were riding in the Australian Grand Prix. With our grid girls, their roles, they're beautiful souls. They all come in and they're all volunteers. We do a lot of promo work on the lead up. They are the face. Everybody wants a photo with the grid girls. So the young girls, like young families and that, you get little girls, they come up to them and they're like, oh, look at these grid girls, they're so beautiful. You know, they want a photo with the grid girls. Old men want a photo with the grid girls. You know, everyone wants a photo with the grid girls. And they really make the event vibrant. They make the event come alive, and it's all about everything. It's not just the race, it's the grid girls, it's the markets, it's the Cessnock Marching Pipe Band, it's the whole shebang that brings it all together and brings this atmosphere like nothing else, and it really does bring the community together.
I'm here with Ainsley, one of our top racers, and her grid girl, her sister. So how did this come about? Tell us all about how you became the grid girl for Ainsley.
Oh, well, I had Ainsley racing a few years now, and Charlie messaged me, and she knew Ainsley had a younger sister, so she said, would you like to be a grid girl? So I applied and got the position.
And what does that involve? What do you need to do as a grid girl for the Postie GP?
There is a lot of promotional lead up. We do have to do a lot of hair and makeup behind the scenes, but we do a lot of promotional stuff for the Postie Bike Grand Prix, selling tickets to win that Postie Bike.
Ainsley, what's it like having your sister on the grid with you?
It's actually really nice. She's actually very supportive and gives me a bit of word of encouragement before each race. Yeah, it's good.
So if her lap times are a bit slow, are you going to give her a bit of stick about it?
Absolutely.
And how are you going to react to that?
I'll probably give it back to her when we get home.
While there are plenty of older, tired machines in the field, Wicks and Hollis have turned up with two beautifully prepared motorcycles in case there's a crash or a breakdown. And they're carrying that number 1 plate that they want to hang on to for the 2024 race. To retain that number 1 plate though, the boys would have to beat the team of Josh Pickering and Brodie Nolan. And Josh was just back from overseas, where he now races full time. We caught up with the boys just before the event.
Me and Brode grew up racing against each other as arch rivals in dirt track, and then we both dabbled a little bit in road racing. Brode done Red Bull Rookies and I done the Asia Dream Cup, and then we both had a crack at Speedway at different times, and then Brodie's vision sort of changed a little bit and turned his profession into his work, which is what he does now, and fortunate enough I stayed with it, and it benefited me in the end. And now I just finished my 7th season of being a professional Speedway rider. I got home from Europe 9 days ago, so look, it's busy. It's I think this is probably like my 90th odd meeting now on the calendar for this year. This is probably the funnest one I can have. It's close to home. We have all our local support here. Our friends and family come out to the event, and our dads get a chance to hang out here and not be against each other like we sort of had to put them through 15 years ago, I suppose. So times have changed, and for me, it's definitely a race on the calendar that I look forward to every single year. Obviously, racing over there, I'm racing for my living and all the rest of it. It's just how it is. But when I come home, this is a fun event for me, but it's only fun when we win as well. So we won 3 in a row up till last year, and we're 20 odd seconds in front with 7 laps to go. But front end locked up, and Brode had a bit of a crash. But we're in a very good position right now, and in my opinion, it's our race to lose. So we are the red hot favourites, and that is for a reason.
Yeah, we're going to get that number 1 plate back. Then we might retire.
Over the years, there have been some close finishes.
And I think me and Pico were literally off our bikes, leaning on each other, just trying to get to the finish line, and the whole straight, the elbows were touching, leading up to that finish line, and the closest finish ever, I think. So we know they're going to be there, and we look forward to banging bars again and putting on a show for the streets of Cessnock. Boyd's pretty handy on a motocross bike, on the dirt track scene. He's sort of been there for 10 or 15 years around bikes, and pretty handy, so I thought he'll do a good job.
Yeah, well, I'd done it a couple of years earlier, and then I had a bit of a couple of years off, and I definitely, when he messaged me the first time, 100% wanted to do it. I knew Wixie has some good gear and looks after his stuff, so I knew we were in for a good shot. And so we got second that year, and then it was just a no-brainer to go again, and we went last year, and we got the win, so got to keep going.
Daniel recently won an Australian title in flat track racing, the same meeting that Cody Lewis won a title in a different class. He's one of our teenage racers, a rookie of the event, and we asked Daniel what he thought of this young upstart.
Who's Cody Lewis? No, yeah, I know Cody Lewis very well actually. I just competed down at Albury for the Australian dirt track titles. I managed to claim my first ever Australian title in the MX Open class, and Cody was fortunate enough to claim the 450 final. So yeah, we were battling through the heat races down there at Albury, and he's a young up and comer and definitely sort of got potential on a dirt bike, that's for sure. So we'll see how he goes on the tarmac on a postie.
Our rookies at road racing were looking to get some tips from the more experienced guys out there by following them around the track in practice and qualifying and learning some lines.
It'd be definitely handy if I could just follow him a couple of laps, just get used to what they ride on the track and see where they make mistakes. Stuff like that really helps. Definitely going to give it a crack and definitely think we'll be up there. You just got to get your head in game and get the right mindset on.
They've been mates for years, having gone to school together and raced against each other.
Since year 2, year 3.
Yeah.
So, schoolmates together?
Yeah, we went to primary school together, grew up together pretty well. We were definitely going to plan on riding it last year, just couldn't get a bike organised quick enough and run out of time, and then Dave gave us a call, told us that he had a bike and I could choose anyone to ride it, and I said, right, let's do it. Yeah, the best purchase I've ever done is buy the Postie, ride around streets, and we've used our 2 MBC 110s, the new model, for a bit of training for the Postie GP, and it's definitely helped. But yeah, cheaper signal fuel too. $5 and you can get anywhere. It would have been the first year at Ren. I just thought it was a bunch of clowns riding a postie bike around, but once I got into the pits one day, it really opened your eyes. It's like everyone takes it very seriously and it's a big event.
I just want bragging rights. That's all I want. I want bragging rights. I want to be able to say I won Postie GP 2023. That's it.
It would definitely be good to sit on the top step and in your first year competing in it. It would be good.
For defending women's champion Ainsley Childs and her uncle Paul, getting a good result was one of the reasons they turned up.
Just really wanted to race in the teams event because it was more competitive, and yeah, I wanted to race with Paul. So
as soon as she said that, I was in. I've raced every Postie GP there was, and I've had 3 different partners, but she's been the best. So as soon as she wanted to do it, yeah, I was all for it. First one was unreal, and then the best one was last year, doing it with Ainsley and family, and it was yeah, it was really good. Twisted my arm again to do it this year, so we're back again.
Who's the most competitive of the 2 of you?
Ainsley.
both of us.
Yeah, we are both competitive, but yeah, Ainsley keeps us both in check.
I have standards.
We're actually driving to the event last year, and she said, I'm going to win the girls' race, and we're going to top 10. I went, I'll just be happy if we make the main final. And yeah, sure enough, we finished top 10 and she won. So it was a good year.
Oh, if we make the main race, I'll obviously be happy. And a podium finish in the women's race would be awesome. But we're always there to win.
Yeah, I think we're never going to win this event. But I think if we can make top 10 again, I'll be happy.
What's your training regime been in the lead up to the event?
Dream work. Yeah. Look, there's lots of tall stories about being a little bit fitter and also a bit more bike fit. Has it happened? 100% no.
Yeah, well, I was planning on getting on a diet before I came up, but that didn't happen. So we're probably carrying a few extra kilos, but it just means we've got to hold the throttle on a bit harder to try and keep up with those young blokes.
We're going to use a bit of wisdom, and that's something you get with age. A little bit of experience, and look, the goal. I don't want to say too much because if I say too much, it'll go pear shaped. But what I have in my mind is arms out
and knees and whatever else needs to be out. I've got a couple of postie bikes that are out in the back paddock that we've spent hours and hours and hours sliding around and jumping over big jumps and doing ridiculous things that postie bikes shouldn't do. So, yeah, just get out there and get the most out of the bike and have a good time.
This is Team Archer, and this bike will do about 6.2, I reckon, on the dyno, on the dot.
If we get in the postie bike, the grand final race, which we normally do, if 13 or 14 people stack and drop out, we'll win.
But in
13
saying
to
that,
14, okay.
But in
Maybe 10.
collectively, we're a 110 years old racing
Yeah,
team.
so we could win the seniors.
And we could win the
Yep.
seniors.
Yep.
And last year we were on track to win the seniors, but unfortunately that gear shaft let us down.
We'll let you down.
Yep.
Yeah, that's racing,
That is,
unfortunately.
mate, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
A $2 part can destroy a $10,000 bike.
Yep.
Some of these guys that race, they're high quality races, they're racing every week.
Yep,
And they come to
absolutely.
Cessnock for the Postie Bike Grand Prix and have a good time and kick our ass.
Scotty and I have been friends for
Quite some time.
for a long
Forever.
time. And Jimmy, which is our team manager, he's virtually the integral part of the racing side of it because Jimmy's pedigree goes a long way back. So we reached out to him at the start of the racing, 2014, and said, look, can you be our team manager? Because we don't know nothing about racing when it comes to road racing. And Jimmy stepped up to the plate and said, well, no worries. And then he's led us through the 8 years coming into this one.
I think they'll go. Yeah, I think they'll go really well because they've had a fair bit of experience at it. But the biggest thing is they enjoy it, and I suppose for a weight for age thing, they should go really well.
We need to mention that Jimmy's son was an exceedingly good motorbike racer. He's since passed away, but Team Arch is a tribute to Peter and what he achieved in the sport. And I get emotional talking about this stuff, but it's beautiful to be able to ride with the Team Archer name and remember Peter every Postie Bike Grand Prix.
Right.
And that's the mantra that we run on every year, which is what the drivers, is what, from the costs associated with racing, but to us it's just a way that we can commemorate, one, Peter, and two, to be able to all come together as a team once a year to do something that we all love, which is motorcycle riding.
Hang out with your mates and ride as fast as you can.
I do a fair bit of road riding, not so much as in racing, but utilise the road bikes that I have. We have all the time in the bush, which is that's where our fitness comes from. To be realistically, to ride one of these things flat out, you need to be fit.
Yeah.
And enduro riding and through the bush is what really makes us have enough strength for old guys to be able to endure 2 hours of head down, bum up.
What's the toughest single aspect about the race? Is it mentally? Is it physical? Is it the bikes? Is it the competition?
All of the above.
And it's a training regime. So we essentially have a few beers and talk about when we're going to practice. And that's about it.
It's very early on race day morning and hundreds of volunteers are already out setting up the track. There's a lot to do, including crowd fencing and water barriers, which are relatively safe for the bikes to crash into when the inevitable happens. The riders are up early too, getting their bike from out of the lockup, getting their quick shades set up in the pits and making sure everything's in place to try and avoid things going wrong during the event.
It's all fun, I suppose. They're pretty deadly when it's wet like this. Okay, and it's very slippery. And very exciting. And there's plenty of power if you let them have enough.
The Cessnock Mitsubishi Postie Bike Grand Prix is a 90-minute endurance race. But to get a start in the main event, you have to place in the top half of the field in your qualifying race. And to do that, you have to set a good time in morning practice. So you've got to go hard from the start. Finish in the top half of your qualifying race and you make it through to the Australian Postie Bike Grand Prix. Those who don't make it through get to race in the Cessnock Cup, a 1-hour event, and there's also a ladies-only event as well. They started in overcast conditions with a forecast for rain, but most were hopeful it would stay dry. They would be disappointed though.
About 8,000 people that came out because they just wanted to come and watch the carnage, and there's a lot of it when it rains.
The rain settled in after the first practice, and if the rain did ease at any time during the day, the track certainly didn't dry out. The number 1 team of Wicks and Hollis were ready though, having ordered special wet weather tyres prior to the event and proceeded to set fast lap times in their pursuit of pole position.
Yeah, just get a feel for it, settle in, don't do anything stupid. We know we're going to be there at the end.
So guys, it's the first session out there. John, you did a 1:32. You happy with that?
Yeah, I guess so, for not knowing the track at all. It's a start. Hopefully we get a little bit quicker as the day goes on. So,
how'd you go out there? I don't know. I haven't looked at the times yet. Yeah. It felt all right, but I was definitely holding back, still warming up.
Okay, now you've had a few dramas today. Tell us a little bit about those.
yeah, so just towards the end of qualifying there, I thought the rear wheel had collapsed, but it turned out the nut had come off our front swing arm pivot bolt. So,
and the swing arm started to walk out.
The bolt had actually come halfway out and the swing arm was just flopping around. I thought the wheel had collapsed and pulled up into pits, realised what's happened. So we've gone scouting and managed to find a part off a very helpful team over the back here. So, yeah.
I'd say we'll be finding another slab of beer later on.
It wouldn't go well for all of our riders though. And for Seraphin, who'd had a crash in the 2022 event, she was backing up and looking for a good result, but it wasn't to be.
I crashed last year. Didn't even make it to the first round. It was during the first 3 laps. I crashed. All I remember was someone at the back of my bike pushed me off. Up through the gutter I go, and through the water barrier and the crowd barrier. And that's all I remember from that.
This year, while practicing in the rain, she locked up the front brake. She went down and was unfortunately too injured to continue.
Our girl rider's out. I think she took out one of those carp on that corner over there in those big ponds. And I don't know, maybe the fish's tail swept the wheel around and she's in hospital now.
The 2 heat races have a Le Mans start where the riders line up on one side of the track, run to their bikes at the other side when the flag drops, jump on their bikes and off they go. Top half of each race goes through to the final, with their finishing position in that heat defining where they will start on the grid.
That's the start, ladies and gentlemen. Grab yourself in and enjoy it. Away we go. Hope you guys for 3 days.
Josh Pickering had qualified fastest and would run across the track, jump on his bike and set a blistering pace, leaving the pack behind him to try and keep up, which caused numerous people to come unstuck. While Pickering and Nowlan set great times and consistently reeled off good laps, behind them there'd be lots and lots of slides and quite a few crashes too, as riders tried to do their best to qualify for the main race and get a good starting point. Teammates are required to swap every 10 laps. They'd pull into the pit area, they'd jump off their bike and their teammate would jump on and head out. The fastest teams wouldn't even stop, the bike just slowing to walking pace.
Oh yeah, happy with the result. Yeah, it's tougher in the wet. Definitely can't push the limits, but yeah, it's going alright.
Tell us what the conditions are like out there and the other riders and things. How are you going?
Definitely different riding in the wet. You got to take the corners a lot slower. Careful on the gear changes. It just slips out from under you.
And slips out from other people too. She narrowly avoided getting tangled up with this crashing rider. The team of Dean Talloy and Daniel Middleton put their number 93 bike at the front of the Le Mans start for Heat 2, and they would lead right through to Crash Corner. Holly's race lead wouldn't last though. Ahead of defending champion Daniel Wicks, he would go down at Crash Corner, costing himself some time but still qualifying for the main event.
And as the front runners come through, Wicks has got the lead now.
Wicks and Hollis would set a nice pace through the race and would end up 12 seconds ahead at the finish. It would be mechanical gremlins making their presence felt for our rookie team.
Yeah, we got off to a pretty good start. We were up to third, and yeah, I ended up binning it in coming out of the TAFE. So I crashed, and then yeah, Cody went out. He was going good. We got up got into a good place, and we were thinking that it was going to be it. And then we switched again, and then we switched again, and then yeah, the carby fell off and he slid out. And
Not finishing in their heat race meant they were not eligible to start the main race at the end of the day, but they would go out and compete in the Cessnock Cup, the race for people who didn't make it to the final. So the stage was set for a big battle between the number 1 and number 2 bikes in the main race. At least until it was discovered that the number 1 bike may have broken the rules. It turns out the tyres they'd chosen weren't actually approved for use in the Postie Bike Grand Prix, and as they'd already used them for qualifying, the officials came down on them, giving them a sanction of sending them to the back of the grid for the main race and adding 30 seconds to their time. So they'd not only have to get all the way through the pack, they would actually have to get 30 seconds ahead of second place to take the win.
Yeah, I went to a lot of effort to try and pull that off, and thought I'd have an edge on some riders, but just didn't read the fine print about the E1, E2, E3, E4 or DOT approved. They're full racing wet, so I just thought, oh, that'll be good, but yeah, it doesn't have all the classifications that meet the sub-reg, so I won't make that mistake again.
Okay guys, you qualified on pole. You look like you've got a good chance of getting your trophy back. How do you feel?
It feels pretty good. We're both pretty comfortable in the wet, so Joshua had a bit more of that, but yeah, we'll see what the main race brings, basically. So keep pretty keen.
Track's been a bit dodgy this year. There's been a lot of crashes. There's obviously the wet and some parts that starting to fall apart. How are you finding it out there?
For us, it hasn't really given us any issues. The bike's handling fine. It's at the end of the day, it is a postie, and with all the correct tyres you meant to run and all the rest of it, it seems to be holding up not too bad out there. So no, look, we're happy. We're consistent. There's no point having one guy that can do low 20s and one guy, mid 30s. So me and Brody are pretty much both on the same pace, which gives us a good shot and keep the bike upright. I know it is tricky conditions, but regardless if it was dry or wet, I feel like that we are the boys to beat. So as long as we keep her upright, we should have it back.
Yeah, you certainly didn't come down here planning to come second, so it's all going to plan?
Yeah, like Josh said, we didn't come down here, even though it is a fun race, to come second. If you're not first, you're last. So yeah, at the end of the day, it is an endurance race, and there is a fair bit of luck involved too. You got to get around there without being scathed or falling off or running into any issues. So.
And then more bad news would come to light for the number 1 team when they were informed they had been imposed an extra 30-second penalty due to passing under a yellow flag, which is considered dangerous.
It's unfortunate for the penalties that we got. Some were a bit harsh. The tyre one was fair enough, but yeah, the passing under the yellow flag was a bit, how you going? I'm not a mind reader, so I don't know if people are going to slam on the brakes to avoid a rider or not. So.
Ainsley Childs might be a softly spoken young woman, but she's pretty ambitious when she pulls a helmet on for a postie bike race. She wanted to back up her title from the previous year with another win in 2023. And she did that easily, jumping out to an early lead and just setting a steady pace in terrible weather conditions. Behind her, the pack fought hard, dicing for the other podium positions, slowing each other down and leaving Childs to take an easy victory.
Yeah, I wasn't real fast running across the road, but yeah, once I was out in front, yeah, I didn't want to get mixed up in all the riffraff. So once I was out in front, I was fine. Everything was wet. It wasn't a nice feeling, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Everything was fogged up. I had my visor up. Yeah, looking into the rain. It wasn't enjoyable, but still got it done.
To a bit of a shonky start. First corner into the tapes, nearly slid out and lost it, so lost a few places there, but I managed to get it back through the race, and then unfortunately come unstuck on Crash Corner along with a few other bikes and slid out, so lost a few places, and then managed to get it back, but probably was a bit cautious on that same corner a few laps later and dropped back to third. So still happy, but yeah, I had second there in the bag for a while, so a bit disappointed that I couldn't bring second home.
Our rookies weren't really happy at all. They'd missed out on competing in the Postie Bike Grand Prix. However, they did win the consolation 1 hour Cessnock Cup.
To actually see that checker flag and come across the line first, it felt good.
How you feel?
Yeah, definitely good for the first year in the rain. Definitely wasn't what we expected, but yeah, over the moon, thank you.
Over the moon? You don't sound like you're over the moon.
No, that's all right. No, a bit disappointed we didn't make the main, but it is what it is, you know. First year, it's just all a learning curve at the moment.
So tell us what happened with the bike and why you didn't make the main.
Just crash after crash. I crashed out in the second qualifying and yeah, set the bike out, couldn't finish the race, so it pushed me into the B main, so it wasn't quite what we expected, but it is what it is.
How were you happy with your times?
Yeah, for being in the wet, I reckon we maybe could have pushed it a little more, but with what we were sort of told and how the bike was, we sort of just wanted to survive it. So yeah, we just tried to ride it and get through the race, and yeah, we came out on top, thankfully.
Back for next year?
Oh yeah, hopefully we can yeah, get into the Group A and then see what we can do in that one.
Happy about what's planned for next year? Got any yet?
I'm actually going to pick up a bike tomorrow, and then the work will be on from there. That'll be it.
That'll be it.
That'll be it. The main next year.
The race started in pouring rain, the treacherous conditions and ambition of the racers causing tangles and crashes right from the start. Daniel Wicks started the race dead last, but would charge through the pack, seemingly picking off competitors at every corner during those early laps. The tricky conditions would claim many victims, but they'd usually pick themselves up, pick up their bike and keep going, for finishing is the target for many. They would circulate for the 90 minutes of the race, overtaking where they could and trying to claw back places when someone faster got by. Up the front, the number 2 bike of Pickering and Nowlan was outsetting consistent laps and doing the job that needed to be done to claim their title back. The team of Wicks and Hollis, however, were fired up and they wanted to get the best possible result and were setting a blistering pace. Well, blistering for bikes with a top speed of 60 kilometres an hour and on skinny tyres in the rain.
Didn't know what was going to happen in the race. We just had to put the head down, get through them sort of riders in the first stint. For me, it was pretty full on. There was crashes and slow people. So I just put the head down and handed it over to Boyd, I think in 7th, and I sort of did the maths and thought that we were going to be somewhere in the mix right at the end. But yeah, it was pretty good considering it was wet.
They would eventually overtake the whole field and could have won the race even from the back of the grid, but they couldn't do it with additional time penalties as well. But that's racing.
I just tailed along and you know, didn't let them get me, so I wasn't going to sit there and race someone that was a long way behind me and jeopardise our chance of winning. So a bit of tactics come into that, and as much as it hurt me letting someone pass me. It worked out for the best, and it was the best result for the team.
After 90 minutes, it was the number 1 bike of Wicks and Hollis that would cross the line first, but their 1-minute penalty would put them back to 3rd overall in the final standings. Pickering and Nowlan would take the win, giving them 4 victories in 5 events.
Victory number 4. Riding on and John Pickering, ladies and gentlemen. Celebrating style.
It was full on. It had everything. We had parts of sun, torrential rain, drizzle, bikes going everywhere, crashes in front of you. It is everything. It's what it's meant out to be, I suppose. So you do need a bit of luck to finish where we did, but you also need a lot of skill and a good team behind you. So fortunately, we had it all. How it did end up planning out, which is what we were trying to avoid, is that Brodie got the last lap board there, and then he had to pit to me, and then I had to go out and finish the race. So if things were a lot closer, a lot tighter, we done one more change than we should have done. But yeah, fortunately enough, it did work out how we wanted it to, and we won exactly what we come here for.
Yeah, I'm proud about that effort. You know, we had everything thrown at us but the kitchen sink, and started off the back of the grid and still managed to get through 36 riders, still managed to get 3rd, so it is what it is.
You know, 4 in 5 years, no one else has done that. It should have been 5 in 5, but anyway, 4 in 5 still good, and we're going to go celebrate with a chicken schnitzel.
Chicken schnitzel.
Celebrating with a couple of beers.
Thank you, cheers.
All right, thank you.
Going to be out for a few years, so we did it proud, and I think we'll hold our head high walking away from here.
Yeah, we'll be doing it again, 100%.
Yeah, same again, mate. We'll put her on the top.
Finished about midfield, I think, so considering the issues we've had sort of through the weekend, we're pretty happy with the result, really.
And was it as much fun as you expected?
Yes, yeah, it was excellent. I think all things considered, we very respectable outcome.
Yeah, well, you were wet straight away. First lap, boots were soaked, leathers were soaked. Everyone's in the same position. We're Victorians. We're used to it.
Probably should have come off. But look, to be honest, I had a bit of a game plan, and that was to ride 9/10s, I suppose. I wanted to keep it upright.
That was my theory too, but I did bin it on the second last lap, I think. But it was a pretty quick one. Just hit the barrier, bounced up, sat on the barrier for a second, picked the bike up and kept going, so didn't lose too many spots.
Great event.
Yep.
Yeah, wish there was more of it.
Oh yeah, they need to start a Postie Bike Cup. It was an awesome day, and thanks to everyone that put in a lot of hard work to set it all up.
It was wet, it was miserable, you had all sorts of problems getting here. You know, it must be a terrible day. You must want to go home and forget all about it, surely.
We had a great time. We didn't fall off, we didn't crash. The bike went well. We had a few issues early, but the bike performed nicely. We're happy.
Yeah, I reckon we should have done another hour, personally. I don't think it was long enough.
Something very wrong with him.
It wasn't long enough, you know, wet boots, who cares? Another hour, that really would have tested him out, because as we said last night, our training just superior.
And so what's the celebration tonight?
We're going to go and pull some barriers now and help pull the truck down. Then we're going to drink as much beer as we can.
Yep, feeling the same way?
Oh, I'll do what he says.